the global ARMY community is once again shaken to its core. Whispers of shocking news surrounding BTS's oldest member, Jin, suddenly exploded across social media, leaving millions of fans in panic. How could a medical diagnosis, something so personal, turn into the biggest storm that overshadowed even the glittering lights of Los Angeles? Why did Taehyung, who was there at the time, look visibly shaken after hearing a doctor's statement? And what was the real reason Jungkook, who was on an entirely different schedule in LA, suddenly dropped everything and took an unexpected step that stunned everyone? These questions became the fuel of endless speculation, spinning in the minds of fans worldwide and turning curiosity into fear. The entire drama began when news broke that Taehyung and Jungkook were both in Los Angeles, though for very different reasons. Jungkook had been attending high-level meetings, reportedly linked to a massive global contract that could influence his future career, while Taehyung was in the city for personal collaborations and artistic projects. Everything seemed normal, until whispers came from Seoul. According to reports, Jin, who had just wrapped up an exhausting tour schedule, was also headed to Los Angeles. But unlike the usual cheerful updates fans expect, rumors suggested he wasn't traveling in full health. The speculation quickly escalated. Had Jin's grueling commitments taken a dangerous toll? Was his health declining to a point where serious concerns could no longer be hidden? Those fears intensified when a source close to the medical field allegedly revealed that Jin underwent a special examination upon arriving in Los Angeles. That statement alone sent ARMY into a frenzy. And when it was claimed that the doctor's diagnosis shocked Taehyung to the point of near disbelief, panic skyrocketed. One witness even described Taehyung's reaction. He looked pale, his eyes glossy, and he stood frozen for a while. That wasn't a normal reaction. Something big had happened. Naturally, this emotional detail fueled speculation. What exactly was the diagnosis? Could it impact Jin's future as a performer, or even his career entirely? The uncertainty became unbearable for fans who adore BTS not only as artists but as individuals they deeply care for. But the narrative grew even more dramatic when Jungkook's name entered the picture. Sources claimed that as soon as he heard the news, Jungkook halted his own schedule and rushed to Jin's side. What exactly did he do? Was it merely a personal visit out of brotherly concern, or was Jungkook stepping into a larger role, perhaps even helping make medical decisions that could affect Jin's future? Exclusive reports suggested Jungkook requested full access to Jin's medical files, sparking endless questions. Was he trying to protect Jin from something bigger? Was he suspicious that the truth was being withheld? Could Jungkook even consider publicly speaking out if the agency attempted to cover up reality? These dramatic possibilities flooded fan forums and Twitter threads, quickly propelling hashtags about Jin, Taehyung, and Jungkook to the top of worldwide trends. Korean media soon began picking up the story, too. Headlines questioned why Jin, already physically drained from touring, would still push himself to make the long trip to LA. Was this HYB's decision, forcing him into a packed schedule regardless of his condition? Or was Jin himself unwilling to disappoint ARMY, insisting on fulfilling every duty even at the expense of his health? The lack of an official statement only deepened suspicion. Within hours, the situation had spiraled into a full-blown storm. 3 members of BTS were suddenly connected to a narrative about a shocking diagnosis, alleged emotional breakdowns, and drastic decisions, all unfolding in the city of Los Angeles. For fans, it felt like a scene out of a heartbreaking drama, Taehyung standing frozen after hearing a doctor's words, Jungkook abandoning everything to take action, and Jin silently enduring the weight of an unknown illness. Yet, as often happens in the digital age, not everything was as it seemed. Days later, more details began surfacing, and they painted a very different picture. A deeper investigation revealed that much of the story was built on misunderstandings, dramatized fragments, and even outright false information. First, the so-called shocking diagnosis announced by a doctor never happened. In reality, Jin had indeed undergone routine health checks after his busy tour, a common practice for artists with demanding schedules. But there was never any official medical report mentioning a dangerous condition. The supposed public revelation by a doctor? Completely untrue. Second, Taehyung's alleged shocked reaction turned out to be based on recycled photos and clips taken from entirely unrelated moments. Social media had pulled images of him looking tired or serious and rebranded them as evidence of his distress about Jin's condition. It was a classic case of context being twisted to fit a narrative. Third, regarding Jungkook, the truth was far less dramatic than the rumors suggested. He was indeed in Los Angeles for his own professional and personal schedules, but there is no solid proof he canceled major commitments or rushed into medical decision-making. Reports that he obtained Jin's medical files were nothing more than speculative fan fiction that got passed off as fact. Eventually, HYB was forced to step in and clarify the chaos. The agency stated firmly that Jin's health was fine. He was not suffering from any serious illness, nor was there any medical crisis in LA. His trip was a mix of work-related matters and an opportunity to rest. That official statement effectively crushed the wildfire of rumors, but only after days of global panic. Looking at the bigger picture, it becomes clear that the entire drama was the result of rumor mills gone wild. Fan forums had speculated, anonymous accounts exaggerated, and entertainment outlets seeking sensational headlines amplified it all until millions of people believed a crisis existed. This is the dangerous reality of the digital era: misinformation travels faster than truth. The impact, however, was deeply emotional. Army around the world had spent sleepless nights filled with anxiety, prayers, and worry for Jin. Many even began blaming HYB, convinced the agency was hiding something. Others feared this might mark a turning point for BTS's future. In the end, all of it was born from unverified claims. Still, there are important lessons here. Health issues are deeply personal and sensitive, and when they're used as material for clickbait speculation, the consequences can be harmful, not only to the artist but to fans whose emotions are tied so closely to their idols. For ARMY, this experience is a reminder that not all viral news deserves belief until it is backed by official confirmation. As for BTS, this is hardly the first time they've been the target of exaggerated rumors. Over the years, they've faced countless baseless stories, and yet, each time, they've endured with resilience. But this particular incident highlights how vulnerable health-related rumors can be, stirring global panic in a matter of hours. Now, with clarifications in place, the truth is simple: Jin is healthy. Taehyung was never devastated by a doctor's revelation, and Jungkook never halted his schedule for a crisis that never happened. The three were simply in Los Angeles on their own respective paths, and coincidences allowed rumors to connect them into one sensational